says, this is the age of internet. This act of violence is on film and has been shared thousands, if not millions of times on social media. You either will be for Ahmaud or for the McMichaels, his shooters. Common sense will tell you the victim was unarmed and the shooters were not in the right to act against him. Christa, is that the bottom line here? That, two people had guns and one person had nothing?
They went home and got their guns and then chased after him. So let's not forget that. So, I love that, whoever's in the right is basically the last man standing. Why is this a fight case? This is a cold-blooded murder case. It's a modern-day lynching.
Lisa writing tonight, this lawyer is basically saying, and I'm good at reading between the lines, down in South Georgia, they will fight and the one standing is right. What he really is saying, he's the biggest good old boy lawyer in the state, and as long as you're his client, you're walking out. Cut and dry, and people wonder why justice is so unfair. Please listen to his words. Kevin Goff, he was a public defender for a while. Judge, your reaction to this statement that, and is it different in South Georgia? Is justice different down there? Do they see things a little differently, do you think?
I think they do, but shame on him for even saying that the one standing is right. I mean, I think that was absolutely ridiculous on his part to even insinuate that was okay. Again, you have 2 against 1. They could have jumped on him, and tackled him, not shoot him down like a dog in the street. It's just ridiculous. And it's ridiculous for him to even say that. And I think that just incites people even more.
Catherine writing tonight, Vinny, I can't imagine this trial being held in Glynn County. Don't you think there will be a change in venue? So much police corruption and conflict of interest. Nima, let me ask you about that. I mean, this is interesting. When we usually hear about, I want a change of venue, it comes from the defense. I don't think the defense wants this case tried anywhere but Glynn County. Can prosecutors come in and say, we can't get a fair trial where we brought the charges?
Never heard that before, Vinny, in my 20 years of practice. But, I mean, absolutely. You're talking about a corrupt sheriff's department. They've had tons of issues. The police chief had to resign recently. They almost disbanded this whole department. But really, the mistakes here were made by, Travis, his father, and, the folks who are prosecuting the case here, not so much the law enforcement officials.
Yeah, and I will say, I don't think it was the sheriff's. I know the county police had issues. I don't think the current sheriff has had any issues, but we'll double check on that. Sean writing tonight, I said this before here. If open carry and stand your ground are the law there, guy approaches victim with long gun barrel down, it's okay per open carry. Struggle ensues. If either of the strugglers gets shot, it's stand your ground for the other struggler. Possible spin for the defense. And I think what Sean is saying here, Christa, is if there's a struggle, whoever's left is going to say stand your ground. Whoever doesn't get shot is going to say stand your ground.
That's what they did in the Trayvon Martin case, right? And it worked. So it's not an unrealistic thing. If I was the defense attorney, that's exactly what I would be doing. It's sad but true. Maybe that's why I'd like to see the video from the front of the car, like we talked about earlier. What really happened?
Yeah, we'll see if that video comes out. And we got our final comment tonight from Faye, who says, "Y'all need to stop the jokes. It is what it is. How are you all going to justify that? As always, if the shoe was on the other foot, this murder case would be guilty. There's nothing that can be said to make this case be anything other than guilty as charged. So stop looking for loopholes. Arbery is the victim. He didn't have a weapon. I'm sure he didn't plan to be murdered." Let me ask you a question, Judge Porter. If these roles were reversed, the jogger is white, the 2 men in the truck are African American, do you think anything would have been done differently?
Well, we wouldn't have had to wait for a video to come out for an arrest. I can tell you that. They're probably lynching there in Glynn County against those 2 if the 2 shooters were black. I mean, there is just it's just a difference down in the deep rural South, and unfortunately, That's the way it always happens. These are what the headlines are. We don't hear about this the other way around.
Judge, thank you so much. Nima Rahmani, Christa Ramey, Judge Porter, appreciate your time and your expertise on this Friday night.